What if you were told that the very country you moved to for a better life is now asking you to leave? Imagine working for years, building a home, and then suddenly receiving a letter saying, "You must pack your bags." Sounds shocking, right? Well, this is the reality for thousands of immigrants in Europe today. In 2025, several European nations have decided to crack down on immigration. Some are tightening their borders, while others are actively deporting people. But why? What's causing this sudden shift? Is it politics, economics, or something more? Before we dive in, here's a simple question for you. Which European country has the highest number of immigrants? Write your answer in the comments below. Let's see who gets it right. And here's another question for you to think about. What happens to people once they're deported? Do they get help from the government, or are they left to struggle on their own? We'll answer this as we go through the list, so stick around till the end. Number 10. France. France, a country known for its rich culture, historical landmarks, and liberal values, is now at the center of a heated immigration debate. But what if I told you that the same nation that once welcomed thousands of immigrants is now actively sending them back? France's latest immigration policies are stricter than ever. New laws allow for faster deportation of undocumented migrants, making it nearly impossible for many to secure legal residency. The government argues that with rising unemployment and an economic slowdown, it simply can't afford to accommodate more people. The most affected? Migrants from North Africa and the Middle East. Many of them arrived seeking safety, but now thousands are being forced to leave. But here's the real question. Is this truly about economics, or is there a deeper political shift happening in France? We'll uncover more shocking details as we move down the list. Stay tuned. Number 9. Germany. For years, Germany was seen as the land of hope for thousands of refugees and migrants. But in 2025, things are changing fast. The country that once opened its doors to millions is now tightening its immigration policies like never before. Germany has introduced stricter visa renewal policies and an immediate deportation process for rejected asylum seekers. That means if your application is denied, you won't get a second chance. You're out. The most affected? Migrants from Syria, Afghanistan, and North Africa. Many of them fled war and instability, hoping for a safer life. But now, thousands are being sent back. The reason? Public frustration. Since the 2015 refugee crisis, immigration has been a hot-button issue, and political pressure is mounting. But here's the real question. Is Germany really doing this for economic stability, or is there something deeper behind this shift? Stick around, because what's happening next in Europe will shock you. Number 8. Italy. For decades, Italy has been the gateway to Europe for thousands fleeing poverty and conflict. But now, the country is making one thing very clear. Migrants are no longer welcome. Italy has introduced tougher restrictions on work permits for non-EU citizens, making it harder for migrants to legally stay and build a life. But the biggest crackdown? Stopping illegal boat crossings. Thousands of African migrants, especially from Libya, Tunisia, and Sudan, risk their lives at sea, hoping to reach Italy. But now, instead of sanctuary, they're being sent back. The government justifies these actions, claiming overcrowded cities and stretched resources. But is that the real reason? Or is this a move to satisfy rising anti-immigration sentiments in the country? And here's something even more shocking. Italy is not alone. More European countries are following this path. Stay with me, because what's coming next is even more surprising. Number 7. Netherlands. For years, the Netherlands has been seen as a progressive, welcoming country. But in 2025, things have changed. The nation once known for its tolerance is now making it harder than ever for asylum seekers to stay. The Netherlands has tightened its immigration laws, making family reunifications nearly impossible and enforcing stricter rules for refugee applications. That means even if someone has already been granted asylum, bringing their family over is now a huge challenge. The biggest impact is on Middle Eastern and African asylum seekers. With overcrowded refugee centers and growing anti-immigration pressure, the government argues that they simply can't take in more people. But is this really about space and resources? Or is it a sign that Europe's open-door policy is coming to an end? Keep watching, because what's happening next will make you question everything. Number 6. Denmark. Denmark has always been known for its strong social welfare system, but in 2025, the country is taking an aggressive stance on immigration. If you think deportation means just sending people back home, think again. Denmark is doing something entirely different. Under new laws, any asylum seeker whose application is rejected is now being forcibly sent to Rwanda for processing, not back to their home country, but to an entirely different continent. This affects Syrian refugees and African migrants the most, many of whom had fled war and extreme poverty, hoping for a safer life in Europe. The Danish government argues that this is necessary to ease pressure on the welfare system and discourage illegal migration. But the big question is this really about border control? Or is Denmark setting a precedent that other European nations might soon follow? Keep watching, because what's happening next in Europe will leave you stunned.
Number 5. Austria. Austria has always had strict immigration laws, but in 2025, the country is going even further, deporting immigrants, even those who have legal jobs. Imagine working hard, paying taxes, and still being told you have to leave. Sounds unbelievable, right? With rising nationalism and public pressure, Austria has introduced tougher deportation laws targeting non-EU workers. That means even those who have been legally employed for years could now face forced removal. Many affected immigrants come from Turkey, the Balkans, and Africa, people who move to Austria for better opportunities but are now caught in a political storm. The government claims that reducing immigration will protect Austrian jobs. But is that really the case? This shift in policy is raising serious concerns. Is Austria setting a dangerous example for the rest of Europe? Stay with me, because the next country on this list has an even more surprising approach. Number 4. Sweden. For years, Sweden was seen as one of Europe's most welcoming countries for refugees, but in 2025, things have taken a dramatic turn. The country that once prided itself on humanitarian values is now sending thousands of immigrants back. Under new policies, asylum rules have become stricter than ever. The government is prioritizing deporting criminal offenders first, but even those who have been in Sweden for years are at risk. The biggest impact is on migrants from Somalia, Syria, and Iraq, many of whom arrived fleeing war and persecution. But now, with a political shift towards conservative immigration laws, Sweden argues that it can no longer sustain high numbers of newcomers. Is this truly about security, or is Sweden bowing to growing anti-immigration sentiments? And if even the most welcoming countries are closing their doors, what does this mean for the future of migration in Europe? Keep watching, because things are getting even more intense.
Number 3. Switzerland. Switzerland, a country known for its breathtaking landscapes, luxury watches, and political neutrality, is now making headlines for something else: its strict immigration policies. But what if I told you that even one of Europe's wealthiest nations is struggling to handle migration? Switzerland has recently tightened its asylum laws, making it harder for migrants to get approval. Even those who have lived in the country for years are now facing deportation if they don't meet strict requirements. The most affected? Migrants from Eastern Europe and Africa, many of whom came seeking work or a better life. But with rising costs of social benefits and growing public opposition, the Swiss government argues that it simply can't afford to support so many newcomers. But here's the real question. Is this really about economics? Or is Switzerland following a growing European trend of shutting its doors to migrants? Stay with me, because the next country on this list is taking things even further. Number 2. Belgium. For many, Belgium has been a land of opportunity, a place to work, settle, and build a future. But in 2025, the country is making one thing clear: immigration is no longer welcome. Belgium has introduced tougher immigration laws, now denying more citizenship applications than ever before. Even those who have lived in the country for years are struggling to secure permanent residency. The hardest hit? Middle Eastern and African immigrants. Many came seeking safety and stability, but now thousands are being forced to leave. The government justifies these measures by pointing to rising crime rates and economic struggles, claiming that stricter policies are necessary to maintain order. But is this really about security? Or is Belgium following a rising trend of anti-immigration politics across Europe? And if even long-term migrants are being sent back, who's next? Stick around, because the final country on this list has an even more controversial plan. Number 1. United Kingdom. The United Kingdom has always been a top destination for migrants, offering opportunities, jobs, and a fresh start. But in 2025, the country is taking some of the most aggressive steps yet to curb immigration. And this time, the plan is more controversial than ever. Under new policies, the UK government is deporting illegal migrants to Rwanda, regardless of where they originally came from. That means even those fleeing war or persecution are being sent thousands of miles away to a country they have no connection to. But that's not all. Work visa rules have also become stricter, making it harder for non-EU workers to stay. Post-Brexit policies are prioritizing British workers first, leaving many skilled migrants uncertain about their future. Is this truly about securing jobs for locals? Or is the UK taking immigration control to an extreme level? And if other European nations follow suit, what does this mean for the future of migration worldwide? Stay with me, because this debate is far from over. What do you think? Should European countries be sending immigrants back? Or should they find other solutions? Let me know in the comments. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more travel and geopolitical updates, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. See you in the next one.